What is going on, everybody? It is the one and only Smug Q here, and it is not a red letter day. No, no, no. Today is a green letter day. Why is that? Well, because we have the new Xbox consoles officially launched and officially released today. But you know what that means, right? Considering Xbox got no games and it's nothing but Game Pass. Well, I got some extra stuff that I have been holding back just for today. Now, unfortunately, I was hoping to do this at the same time, but unfortunately, the PS5 and the Xbox release dates are slightly different. Not to mention there's the whole PS5 thing in certain regions around the world. But either way, this video applies to all four of the next generation consoles. That is the Xbox Series S, the console that should not exist, the Xbox Series L, aka the Xbox Series X, the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition, and the PlayStation 5. So this applies to every single one of these consoles. Yeah, you can tell I'm happy making this video. You know it, baby. You know it. So, what's going on anyway? Well, over the last several years, now by several years, I'm talking 15, but it's been especially bad the last 7. But overall, we're talking 15 long run, 7 important thing to focus on. I have heard one thing consistently from fanboys, from people who don't know anything, from idiots, from people who will not demand better, aka console fanboys basically, but not only console fanboys. I've heard it from the absolute shill media. These people that I look down on. I'm just some random dude sitting here in a room just making videos, talking shit on the internet for fun. And you know what? I still feel superior to these crappy games journalists. That's right. You know why? Because they're a joke. And here's why. So over all these several years, I've consistently been told, specifically, you know what? I know I'm all over the place in this video, but it's just so much fun to talk about. It's so much fun to make that it's just so hard to keep my mind straight in this sentence and this situation. But it's like 40% the console fanboys, and it's like 60% of the crappy. I can't even call them journalists because let's face it, they're bloggers. They're not qualified to be journalists. They're an absolute joke. And they have said the same thing. 30 FPS is fine. 60 FPS doesn't make a difference. 60 FPS isn't required. High frame rate doesn't matter. It doesn't affect the gameplay when it clearly, factually does. And these people have said that multiple times that 60 FPS doesn't matter. You know why? Because their consoles and their hardware cannot do 60 FPS. And that's what makes it especially funny. And now, over the last couple of months, but especially I want to put it out today because we have the first proper next generation console launch just being today. Well, what have we been seeing? And what have I been saying for all these years? That's right. When I say all these years, I mean all these years. Because I have said it multiple times. All the way from January 28, 2015, when I uploaded my very first video. Please do not go and check that video out. It is absolutely woo lad in quality, and I had no idea what I was doing. But anyway, since then, and even before, but most importantly since then, these people have told me that 30 FPS is fine. And I have said that when the next generation of consoles comes out, because they can actually probably do 60 FPS, which a lot of the time they can, we are still seeing 30 FPS games as a standard, which is a fucking joke, but we are still seeing these new games come out with 60 FPS on these new consoles. And you know what I said? I said that despite over all that time, the last 5 years or so, that Microsoft, Sony, all these studios, whoever were saying 30 FPS is fine, cinematic gameplay, blah blah blah, there's no difference. I said as soon as they can do 60 FPS, that is going to matter to them. They can talk all resolution all they want. They can say 4K is better than 60 FPS, it's more important. And you know what? Like I said, like almost clockwork, for the last year, roughly the last year, 11 months, because I believe it was December of 2019 when we got our first official reveal of whatever it was. I think it was the Xbox. But either way, I guaranteed you that they would be touting high frame rates and 60 FPS, and hell, we've even seen up to 120 FPS, that they would be touting it as an important changing selling point. And lo and behold, what have we been seeing for all these 11 months? Well, 60 FPS mode, 60 FPS, 60 FPS, performance mode, 60 FPS, 120 FPS mode. And that is what I'm saying. And you know what, all you console fuckboys, the ones that have been telling me that 30 FPS is fine, that 60 FPS doesn't matter, that 60 FPS offers no material benefit, that your crappy defective eyes cannot see the difference between 30 and 60 FPS, let alone quadruple the frame rate of 120 FPS. You know what? You're all eating this shit up. You know why? Because you are fucking hypocrites. You are fanboy hypocrites. That's all it is. And these media shills are even worse about it. Because they've been propagating this same shit that these fanboys eat up. Oh, 30 FPS is fine. 60 FPS would offer no benefit. It's easy to say all that when you can't do it. In fact, it's been especially funny seeing it from the PlayStation 5 camp lately, because the PlayStation 5 is 100% factually slightly less powerful than the Xbox Series L. And stuff on the Xbox Series L is outperforming the PlayStation 5 version, even if it's only ever so slightly. Maybe it's slightly higher frame rate, maybe it's slightly higher resolution. I mean, they are all dynamic these days because the consoles are pieces of shit punching above their weight. But it's funny because now the Sony camp are damage controlling more and more and more. Why? Because now they're behind. Up until a couple of weeks / maybe even a couple of months ago, all these Sony fanboy media studio outlet pieces of shit that get paid a lot of money for their crappy fanboy propaganda, they were telling you that 4K is super important. 4K this, native 4K that, native 4K this, 60 FPS. And you know what? Over time, the info trickled out. The studios trickled out. The info, as I said, trickled down, and shit runs downhill. And suddenly, 4K 60, native 4K 60, became dynamic 4K 60. It eventually became native 4K 30. Then it became dynamic 4K 30. Then it became games with ray tracing. Then it became, 1440p 60 FPS that does not maintain with no ray tracing. Yeah, you see how this is going. And then suddenly, these outlets are all telling you that, it doesn't matter, such and such. And then they just create these bullshit lies, false narrative crap, just to try and justify it and placate these crappy little fanboys who apparently worship their weird type of identity linked to a piece of plastic and silicon. So I just want to reiterate one more time for all of you people out there, you PlayStation fanboys, you Xbox fanboys, you console in general fanboys. Don't even get me started about the Switch, they're completely irrelevant. That's why I'm only mentioning it this one time in this video. Absolute fucking scum of the earth. Something doesn't matter when you don't have it. Something doesn't matter when you can't do it. Something doesn't matter when you can't attain it. Realize all of this. Admit your fault. Admit your blind fanboyism and your need to damage control. Because you know what? No matter what it is with that SSD though, no matter what it is with these 12 teraflops, this RDNA 2, no matter what it is about these new consoles, these high frame rates, these 60, 120 FPS, you're all still fucking console level jokes. And all of you people that are like this are fucking hypocrites. This is your boy Q from the glorious PC Gaming Master race. And I'm better than you, and you know it.